Hey, it's Karen from Liongate Farm, and today I am going to teach you how to felt this cute little witch gnome. Isn't she cute? She's pretty fun. So join me. Let's go. She's got some new techniques. All right, so today we're making this funny Halloween gnome witch. She's hilarious. And I'll go through what we're going to use so that you can get all your supplies together. So you're going to need an 11-inch piece of 16 gauge wire. You could use smaller, but that's for her legs. You need a piece of 3mm felt. That is what we're going to build her hat on, and I will show you how we do that. It doesn't matter what color it is. I just have navy, which is dark. And then you need raven corriedale, which is black, purple DHG, scarlet corriedale, her legs, snow DHG, which is on her legs. This is called thunder, which is kind of black with white in it. I use that on her feet. The lichen corriedale, that's her nose. And then marigold, that's just her hat accent. That's all that is. And then, of course, coral. And then I'm using silver Blueface Leicester locks from my sheep for her hair and her braids. These are from Storm. They're on, all this stuff is available. All the supplies are available on the website at liongate.org. Coral, everything. So let's get started. First, we're going to build her body. And her body is kind of, it's your typical gnome body, but there's one little difference about the hat, and I'll show that to you. I'm going to sit her right here, but I bet you can't see her. Okay, so you need a skewer, and you need coral. And this gnome witch ends up being about 9 inches tall to the tip of her hat. So you're going to take a nice piece of coral, and this is a bat of coral. Sometimes it comes in pieces, sometimes it comes in bats. And I like to build her on a skewer. Remember, the tighter that you wrap. This is just how you build any gnome on a skewer. We're going to make a big cone, but we're not going to go all the way to the tip of the hat. We're just going to go like to 7 inches, maybe 6.5 inches tall. So you're just going to wrap on your skewer. And then wrap back. And it doesn't matter if it's skinny at the top. And this is messy. Look at how messy I'm being. It doesn't matter. I'm going to need a lot more coral than this. Secure the piece that you have. Make sure you secure down here, but don't let go of where your base is so much. I always put the needle in the pad to stop it. And I'm going to do another piece. This takes a minute to get it nice and fat. She ends up being about 3 inches fat at the bottom. Wide, fat. We missed a week. It was all my fault. Missed a week of videoing for you. Sorry about that. So you're just going to take strips and keep going. And so where we're going to go to about right here is where you want. Let me measure it exact for you. Yeah, it's about 6.5 inches tall, this cone. And like I said, it doesn't have to be super skinny at the top. Look, I have a piece of string in there. You never know what's going to be in my coral. I like this nice and felted firm because it's just a good base and makes everything else easy. Notice I'm focusing on the bottom half of the gnome. It's mostly wrapping at this point. And I'm pulling it pretty tight so that I don't have to felt it a lot. Any shortcuts so you can get to the fun part. Now I'm not going to slide my skewer all the way out. I'm going to slide it up that far. And I'm going to work on the bottom. I need you to keep that skewer in there. You might want to switch to your pen tool. But our goal right here is to get this nice and flat. And then you can see I'm not wide enough yet. I'm going to have to get some more core wool out here. I like this base to be nice and felted. Now you can see I'm a little lumpy through here, so I'm going to fix that by adding some pieces. We just want a nice smooth cone. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you where we go from there. So nice smooth cone. And I'm going to confirm what I was telling you. Yeah, about 3 inches at the bottom. And then about 6.5 inches tall. And this does not have to be super thin here. You can make it about 1 inch thick at the top because that's like still part of her hat. So I'm going to keep felting this and then I'm going to come back with a nice firm cone. All right, so by now you should have this nice firmly felted cone that measures about 3 inches by 6.5 inches. And it's almost 1 inch at the top, but it's still a little bit loose. So now we're going to finish this top piece first. This is going to be your hat. So I want you to go down about 2 inches, and maybe 1.5 inches from the top of your cone. And you're just going to wrap your black. If you're using merino, you'll probably have to do more. But now we're going to go up this cone. And now it's going to matter what we do. Just going around. So we're making, I didn't want core wool under this skinny part because it's too hard to cover the white. And you can be subjective here. This witch hat can be as tall and skinny at the top as you want. You can bury a wire in there if you want it to be movable. I'm not doing that at this time. I think I showed you how to do that on the Gnome video, how to put a wire in their hat. So you just have a wire next to your skewer. I also, in case you're wondering, switched out to a shorter skewer on this guy, just for the camera to look at. So this, we're felting in the hat. And the hat ends up being, wait a minute, I'm measuring the original witch. The hat ends up being 4.5 inches tall. So I am at 3.5, so I need another inch. I'm just gonna wrap it. Remember when you're wrapping, keep it flat. Keep it nice and flat. Go up and back. The less you twist, the smoother your wrapping will be. Then I'm going to show you a little trick here when we pull the skewer out. So again, I'm using corriedale, which felts pretty darn fast. If you're using merino, you're going to have to poke twice as much. Lower the micron in the wool, the less you have to poke, because it's felty. It's nice and felty. So I'm felting all this before I pull the skewer out, so that when I pull the skewer out, it all doesn't come with it. So we're going to pull the skewer out, and then you're going to put the tip on your felting pad, and I want you to twist and poke at the same time. I'm going to switch to my double needle, my pen tool. When you twist and poke like this, it really reveals the soft spots in your hat. I've got one right here. So basically I'm just rolling it, but if you attach it to your pad, it twists the hat and allows you to get way better felted. This is how I make all my hats for everything, by attaching the tip to the pad and just felting along. Then take your hat and rub it in your hands, and that will smooth it out. You can see we have a nice pointy hat here. So the next thing you're going to do is color the body. I'm using purple. You can use whatever color you want. I'm going to draft. This is a kind of a batting, so I'm going to spread it out so it's not very thick. Remember, you just want to color it. You don't need to build it up. And we're just going to wrap it on. Angle it down. Just attaching it. So on this, if you want to go faster, you can use your multi-tool to get it nice and smooth and attached. You know, this tool that I have has 7 needles in here. And they're usually a finer needle, because if they were all fat needles, they wouldn't go into your project because there's too many needles. But this does adhere things faster if we're going this way. Either way, you can use either tool. It's terrible. I'm a single needle girl most of the time, even when I should be using multis. I don't know if you guys all have your Halloween decorations up. I have a whole little section here in the shop. Pumpkins aren't ready yet. I'm dying to do my pumpkin display out front. What's your favorite Halloween display that you have at your house? You have to tell us. I love seeing all the answers. I don't even get any trick-or-treaters where I live. I live too far out of the city. But I always have candy because my favorite trick-or-treater comes and films these videos every week. And he likes chocolate. So we're just going to cover this and get it all nice and smooth. It's going to probably take you, you know, a decent amount of time to get it all nice and smooth. But I want you to get this all nice and attached, because once we cover it with other stuff, you're not going to be able to work on it very well. Okay, I've been felting along here for about 15 minutes, And I have this nice black and purple cone. And it looks really big, I know, but it is not. It is not bigger than her. So first, I want to show you how we're going to make the hat brim. We're not going to put it on yet, but we're going to make it. So you cut a 4x4 piece, 4-inch by 4-inch piece of, it's about 4x4. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. It is 4x4 approximately. This is 3mm felt, so it's thick. I like to use this where I want stiff stuff. So this is what we're going to end up with, this circle. And I'm going to show you an easy way to cut it. So first, just round your edges. You know, just round your corners out. It does not have to be perfect, you guys. Perfect is not the name of the game. All right, so we have rounded our edges. We're going to fold it in 4. All right. Now, the most important thing is to remember to make your curve even. So start little. Just cut your center out. Yeah, who cares where it goes? Okay, so see what I mean by even? This is the same width as this. All right. And so it makes a hole. Hopefully this is not too big. Hopefully. No. So see, then it'll come down to about there. It should come right to your black part. And that's the third one I've cut, so I knew how big to cut it. But err on the side of small so it doesn't go way down your gnome. Okay, so then once you have that cut, get these pieces out of here. You're going to cover it. You're going to take your black corriedale. And if you followed along in the bat video, you know exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to wrap it around the ring. Felt it a little bit. Get it on here. So you're drafting out a pretty skinny piece. All we're doing is covering up the blue. This is the fastest way to get a nice flat piece for a hat brim. And it's stiff. It will hold up. It won't sag at all. In the past I've felted them totally, and you can do that if you want to be a purist and have only needle felting. But this is like the greatest hack ever for making standalone pieces. And it doesn't matter how, you don't want this to be super thick. You're just covering the blue. Try not to let your felt curl under there. That's why I like to use the 3mm. You can see how fast this goes, pretty quick. If you have a nice long thin piece, and you can see I'm drafting it as I go. Drafting, again, remember, means to stretch out your roving. And I'm just tacking it in. And we're going to keep going. We're almost done. Keep going around. It's okay if some of it comes a little bit loose. I need a little bit more. Just a tiny bit more for this spot. And this is a really good spot to use your multi-tool flat tool. Multi-needle tool. This guy. Because we're just going to secure all this into that felt. And it should go right in. If you don't have wool felt and you only have acrylic felt, it will work. It's not as stiff as this stuff. Let's just go around. If you don't have a multi-tool, it'll just take you a little bit longer. Flip it and keep going. I'm pushing it down in because the felt is thick. And I want it felted into that felt. then we're going to go back, work your edges. So right now we're just getting our hat brim ready to go onto the witch's hat. And I can show you what it's going to look like. So this is going to come on here. And we will attach it with some corriedale here. So then you have a nice witch's hat. So the next thing you need to do is decide which is the front. And it should be a cone, but you know, there's always like a spot, like when you're carving a pumpkin, that speaks to you. So I am going to put her nose right there. And I know where it is. So where's my skewer at? My little skewer. We're going to use this ugly lichen color. I actually love this color for other things, but not usually people noses. And just like we did the hat and the gnome body, we're going to wrap a cone. You're going to draft it out. Go back down. I always make the thick spot, the thick part of the cone by my thumb, my fingers. And that's not fat enough because you want a big nose. This nose is big. So the cone itself is going to end up being about 3/4 of an inch wide at the bottom. So I am not there yet. You can make her nose as fat as you want, as big as you want, as pointy as you want. Mine is not super pointy. Mine is more of a gnome nose. So I have this cone going here. And just like always, make sure that you felt a little bit right here so that when you pull out your skewer, the center doesn't come with it. So we're going to pull the skewer out, hold right there. Now we got our nose. So we're going to put the nose on. I just tack down the sides here. We're just attaching it. And then we're going to take a little bit of this and make a little ball. You can use your skewer to make the ball if you want. And I put it on the side here. That might not be enough. I'm going to make another little ball. I just roll it up in my fingers. And I'm not worried about what the ball looks like because we're going to cover it up. You can kind of see her nose taking shape here. Tucking in all my spare stuff. So then we're going to take a little piece, make a little stack. Now this you want to be kind of careful with. So we're going to cover, the piece needs to be as long as the nose is wide. And we're going to start to tuck it in around the base of her nose. See, my nose is coming loose right up there. Tuck it in around the ball. See what that's doing is smoothing this nose out. And now we're going to felt it all together. Now where you put those little balls on down here, that's where the nose holes go. I had to stab myself. Make some nostrils. This witch has big nostrils. It's like the Hansel and Gretel witch. So just use all that extra, tuck it all in behind the nose. And that will essentially felt this nose on. If you want to add warts, be my guest. This is where you're creative. And this comes in. Get a little brown and put a little wart on her nose because you will see the nose. You'll definitely see the nose on a gnome. Okay, so normally on the last time I made this, I've only made one of these before, put the legs on last. We're going to put the legs on next because once the hair is on, it's kind of hard to put the nose on or put the legs on. So, trick for putting on the legs. We want to go in on this side of the nose, just about 3/8 of an inch above the base, and come out on the other side of the nose. Now this is tricky, guys. So you take your wire that you cut earlier, your 16 gauge wire. This is Karen's cheat for putting wire in after the fact. And you just follow that skewer through. And it will come right through. Find center. Now we're going to work on one leg, so I want you to bend the second leg back here, so that it's not pulling through. Okay. This is the trickiest part of the whole gnome. You're going to take your white, maybe, and I'm going to tear off a piece. So I have this nice piece. I am drafting this out because I like skinny witch legs. You know, you could do them in green, but I like her to have white socks with red stripes, like the Wicked Witch of the West. Well, actually, I don't think that is the Wicked Witch of the West. I think that that is like a different Wicked Witch that got killed. So then I've tacked it in, and now I'm going to wrap it down. We're going to make this witch have super skinny legs. And you're going to go almost all the way to the end. Almost. You're going to stop about an inch before. Go back up. You know, you can make your legs longer, you can make them shorter. I thought she was kind of funny with long legs. Okay, then I'm going to tear that off. I'm going to wrap this right here, and I'm going to just bury it in her body. You don't really need to felt this unless you think you do. So then I have some red here, and I need a skinny strip. So I'm drafting this out. And I'm going to tack it. I don't like the stripes to be super close together. If you want to make individual stripes, so she doesn't look like a candy cane like mine, you can go one stripe and felt it, one stripe and felt it. But I just wrap down her leg. Okay, whatever you do though, you got to do the exact same thing on the other side. And then we're going to tie that off a little bit and tack it in. You don't want to go back up on the red. So you have one leg. You will have to go back in here and clean up any stray fibers to keep this nice stripe. And make it nice and tidy. Okay, so now we're going to make a foot. I'm using this black that has this white fibers in it for her shoes. Her shoes are my fancy wire trick. I'll show you here. So again, I need a small piece. And I'm going to just bury this in here. I'm going to wrap over it. I'm going to wrap down, 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 down to the end. I'm going to go past the end. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to turn that back. So that wire is covered. I hate when wires stick out. I'm pinching it pretty tight. Now I'm going to wrap back up. But now I'm going to bend her foot. So I bent it at, if you're doing a ruler, like 1.25 inches. And now down here, we need a little heel. So let's make this a little bit fatter. And you know what? If you wanted boots, you could go up higher. So I'm gonna go up to there. You can always add a little bit more. So let's clean this up a little bit. So I think I would like her to have a little bit more heel on her shoe. Personal preference. Just gonna take a little bit and I'm gonna go back here. I'm wrapping it back around. That's kind of messy. Make sure to do both sides. So you can see, because I'm going through that white, you can see it coming out, but it's okay because I used the black that has the white fibers in it. That was part of my reason. And then right here where her boots come out, you can make that a little thicker if you want. All personal preference. I'm not gonna curl her toes up quite yet. When you're working between your fingers, be very careful. I know there's grabber tools out there, but just be careful. And you don't need to buy a grabber tool. All right, that's 1 foot. Now, we have 1 leg done. Let's go for the second leg. I want you to finish your second leg and then come back, or I'll actually show it to you probably because you probably need to see it again. So again, I'm gonna draft out this white piece. I'm gonna tack it in the body. You can move that leg out of the way. You want this wrapped pretty tight. Notice how I let go of it every time I go around. I always wrap away from myself. It's just something the way I do it. Whatever's comfortable for you to give you the smoothest wrap. And then move my finger down to hold it tight. Notice I bent the foot where I had the other one bent, since I want the legs the same length. If you get a little lumpy, you can just twist it a little bit and it will smooth out. I ran out before I got to the top, but I'm just going to secure it because we're going to bring the purple down a little bit. And we'll add the red. Now, tricky red part. Bring your other leg back. I think I want to go this way. No, I want to go the other way. Because I want them to be opposite. You know, like real socks. The weird things you have to think about when you're felting. Again, I'm going to terminate this one right here, but just wrapping it. I'll stab it in. And you guys thought this was going to be an easy little gnome witch. She is, with some tricky little legs. That's all. So now, again, I need the thunder. Second wrap on the foot so you can see how I did it again. But this time we know how far the boot comes up. We know, so we can go around. I'm going to secure that just a little bit so I can let go and do the toe. Okay, got that. Bend it in. So you can see that the total wire is totally covered, and then I come out and I'm going to go around it. We're at the heel. Let's make this fat again. Just a little bit more. I kind of did a figure 8 around that foot to build this up. You know, however you're comfortable adding fiber, just add what you need. Just keep it tight when you put it on. Much less poking to do. Save yourself time. Now we know, are they the same length? They are. And then you're going to just tip them up a little bit, you know, so she's got curly shoes. Okay, those feet are the same. The stripes go the opposite ways, pretty much. You can go back and work this with your needle. These are just little nitpicky details you can do after you get everything else on. Okay, so next, I just dropped the green. Okay, next step, you're going to, let me get some of this stuff out of the way. So if you notice on here, she's got a couple braids and then she just has locks. I don't know if I'm in the camera with this because she's got a couple braids and then just locks. And we have to put those on before we put her hat brim on. Now, I just noticed I have some green escaping the nose. Get out of there. Go back. Okay. So I made one braid already. I have a braid here. I'm going to show you how I make the braids. So I picked out 3 nice big locks. And I'm going to tack them to my pad. I tried braiding on the Gnome Witch. It was not a good thing, so I did it this way. So then I'm just going to braid these together. Does anybody else have a dog that's very scheduled? Like they like things at certain times. If I could tip the camera, I would show you that Rip is sitting here telling me it's his dinner time because it's probably 3:30. And he says, it is dinner time. It is time to eat. He's cocking his head while I'm talking about it. And he's just going to have to wait. So there, I just braided that. I have 2 nice little braids. And I took a little piece of the orange that I'm going to use on her hat. I didn't tie it. Too much work. I just poked it in. I poked it around like it's a little tie. You can use any color you want. You could even use a piece of twine. Okay, so now we have 2 little braids. One braid's gonna go right here. Now I want you to stay right on the edge of the black while you do this, while you put the hairs in. That's one braid. See, she already looks like a witch. I'll put the other braid in. One braid's longer than the other, but who cares? Okay. All right, we got that. Now we're gonna pick out just fun little locks and start tacking them around the brim of where the hat goes. I have a black one here. Why not? Storm makes 3, like, all different colors of fleece. She's very silver. Her daughter is very silver also. I'm very excited about that. I haven't got to shear her or have her sheared. What am I saying? This is why I have these kind of sheep, because they make these tiny little curls. You know, if you don't have curly fleece, well, this one, that's the, I'm tacking the cut end up in the hat. So this is the end of the lock. This is where it was sheared. So you want to keep the cut ends up high because they're fuzzier. Well, I'm just gonna put that whole group on. So you can see she's getting her nice hair here. How about another dark one? Oh, look, this one, I can't use that one. It's got thistle in it. Sometimes things get away from me when I'm washing. If you don't have curly fleece, you can use the straighter fleece. It doesn't matter. It'll be just a different look on your hair. Mohair's a good option if you have some mohair locks. And hey, they don't even need to be white. They could be green or orange or whatever color you want. All right. That's quite a bit of hair. Now I want to put just a little bit right here over her nose. Just a hair, no pun intended. So we've got that all on. I'm all done with the locks. Now I'm gonna take that hat brim that I felted, push it down in. You can see she's gonna come to life here. And then I'm gonna take a little piece of black and then I'm gonna join them together. I'm going to felt it till it's nice and smooth so you can no longer see the join of the hat brim and the hat. And then we're going to add, I like, you can do any color again you want. I'm going to put an orange band right here because that's what I like. Skin your hat can be as skinny or as tall as you want. I've got this little piece of marigold here and I'm just gonna stretch it out, draft it out, wrap it around. don't want that piece to be too overpowering. Just a little accent. It's all in the details, guys, all in the details. The more details you give your felting, the more character they will have. So take time with the details. Just like I will go back and work on her legs here a little bit. So I've got a loose lock. Let's just tuck it in there. If you don't think you have enough hair, you can lift it up and tuck some more in. Once you get the hat brim on and you're examining your creation. This also helps hold the hat brim on. All right, so what I did after I got all this, oh wait, we got one more thing to do. Let me take all this out of here. Take it. I like to make her look like she has little pants on. So I'm gonna take a little bit of purple and I'm gonna finish her legs. She's got a little bit of pants, not very much. Oh, I got a piece of black in there. Wrap a little piece, just right around here. If you wanted to be funny, you could take a little piece of black lace and wrap it around her waist so she had a little black skirt on. Be kind of cute. Just a little ruffly lace. I might have to do that on one of these. Let me get another piece for the other side. This hides all those tuck-in spots that you had from the white and the red. Just be careful when you're felting in here because there's a wire. There we go. We have our funny little witch gnome. And then let me show you what I did on the other one, on my example. And you just go into your bag of tricks. That's what I call it. I have my little bag of tricks that I have little things. So I added a little orange twine with a pumpkin charm. I just tied it around her neck. Or you could put little orange buttons there or something. And then I added some little pip berries and a leaf and a pumpkin charm. But see, it's, oh, and on her feet, I added a little twine bow and a pip berry on the end of her toes. See, it's all in the details. You can see what a difference just those little details make on your creation. So don't be afraid to like go into your bag of tricks and get fun stuff to dress up your witches. Okay, so I told you it's all about the details. So I added a little pipberry strand and a little leaf and a little pumpkin charm. I cut the charm part off with some wire cutters on there. And then I said, wouldn't it be funny if she was wearing a skirt? So I got a piece of lace out of my stash. And with my glue gun, I just gathered it up. And then I gave her some orange spider ribbon. And then I put some twine on her shoes and a little pipberry that I cut off on her tips of her toes. On there, I went back around and wrapped a little piece so you don't see the glue. And look how cute she is in the back. So she has this little bow in the back. Not that anybody ever looks at the back but me, but anyway, so that's our little witch for the day. Thanks for joining me today and making my little witch gnomes. Tell me what you think about them and what we could do better. Make sure, if you're on YouTube, to click like and follow us because it really helps us out. And then if you need any supplies, the colors are listed in the description. Head over to liongate.org and you can find all the colors that I used in today's project. So see you next time.